It is only now that I'm understanding what motivation means. I thought I understood the concept of motivation, and I was wrong. But the realization of what motivation actually means is changing my life. I've been reading this book called The Motivation Myth. I haven't finished yet, but there's just so many things I've been realizing about myself and how I work. And I hope this can benefit somebody. My entire life, I thought, just like everyone else, that motivation is something like a rush of energy. Because I thought motivation was this strong burst of energy within. And I thought this was the energy I need to do my tasks, to focus on my goals. This is the energy that I needed. I was wrong, y'all. And as soon as I realized that this is the wrong concept of what motivation is, I started improving in a lot of the projects I've had in mind, in language learning, but in other aspects of my life as well. In this book, I've been learning that motivation is not a burst of energy. It's not random. Motivation is born from small wins, the small moments of success, and the small segments of accomplishing something when you work towards a goal or a task. I'm going to give the example of language learning. I have been on and off learning Arabic for so long. I've actually started learning Arabic many years ago, but I stopped for a really long time. This past year, I've really turned it up a notch. I've been seriously learning Arabic diligently, and I've been focusing on it for more than a year now. And I can relate to this idea of motivation. I think a lot of people wake up one day and have the desire to learn Arabic, a bolt of energy. That's called a sugar rush. Okay. A lot of people have it one day, they try learning, the next day they stop. And that's kind of what happened to me many times. I think a lot of people love the idea of learning a language. Like, I love the idea of being able to speak Arabic and the idea of learning it. But when it came down to it, that rush of energy slowly disappeared just over a couple of days. So, what was different from 5 years ago, from 4 years ago to this past year? This past year, I have a goal, of course. I started off learning Arabic with small bite-sized pieces. I did not go to the library, sit down for 3 hours and try to learn Arabic. I actually started with just 30 minutes in my commute to work on the bus. I started listening to a few things. I started listening to a few YouTube videos, just very small things. And then it's just so interesting because one day I learned how to count in Arabic and I said, oh, this is a win? I like the feeling. It's that feeling of small success, of learning to count 1 to 10 in Arabic, that gave me this kind of motivation to take it up a step further. I then said, okay, what if I try to order at my local restaurant? Okay. I learned how to order a chicken shawarma at my local restaurant. Guess what I did? I ordered. I said, oh, I can take it up a notch. What can I do now? And then every day I have this every day I have these small wins, small moments of success. And it's these small moments that give you the appetite to continue doing what you're doing. Because learning Arabic is honestly probably one of the most hardest things that a native English speaker can do. It is such a difficult language. I'm not even trying to sugarcoat. It's very difficult. But if you have time every day where you're learning something, you're accomplishing just something, even if you don't master it, even if you slowly understand something, that compounds over a long period of time. After that first month of studying Arabic diligently every day for just bite sized pieces per day, I then realized, wow, I love this. I love that I'm able to order. I love that I'm able to have small conversations. I'm glad I'd watch some YouTube videos. I would understand like 3 words in a 10-minute YouTube video. I call that a win. I said, wow, if I can understand 3 words now, maybe if I continue to learn, I'll understand more. And it's funny because the month after, I start to understand more and more. And I start to learn question words. I start to learn more verbs. I start to learn all kinds of things. And before you know it, 6 months has passed. After the 6 month mark, I started understanding content in Arabic. I started to understand native speakers, like their content online, and I was just so amazed. The more time passed, I would understand more and more and talk to more people in Arabic. And it's so funny because I started to reframe what is motivation for me. Because motivation isn't depending on that energy. Because some days you wake up, you don't want to do anything, you don't have any motivation to do anything. But I do get that energy, but it doesn't come to me randomly from nowhere. It comes from the feeling of progress. Even if that progress is very small, even if that progress is minuscule, you still feel that feeling of progress. It's all about falling in love with the process, falling in love with what you're doing. And once you fall in love with the process and see over a period of time some level of growth, that actually gives you some kind of confidence. It gives you this confidence that I can't even explain. Like when I start talking to native speakers, every single time, even if the conversation is horrible, it doesn't turn out the way I want it to be, there is some kind of feeling of wanting to do more. But in order to have that feeling, you have to do something. You have to do the work in order to get that feeling. In other words, if I were to sum everything up, it is that the motivation will really come to you once you start doing the work. And a lot of people think they start doing the work because of the motivation. We cannot wait for motivation to just come to you randomly and you waking up randomly saying, I want to do this, because that is not sustainable. That is called a sugar rush. And obviously, with a sugar rush, it runs out and you crash eventually. But when you start to be aligned with what your goals are, you know what you want, you try your best every day, many steps, many baby steps. These are the things that will carry you through. It is not about how do I feel today? What's my energy level like? It's gaining energy from the momentum of the action that you're doing. On my account, I'm always saying start messy. And I did a whole other video about reframing what failure means to you. Like you can check that video out if you want, because that's kind of linked to what I'm talking about today. But basically, we need to fall in love with what we're doing. That's why I always tell people you have to do things that makes your heart sing. You have to do things that are aligned with you, that make you feel good. Learning Arabic makes me feel wonderful. I really hope that this helped you today. I hope this gave you an idea on how to get motivated and how to get on your 2 feet. So start that progress. Start messy, start imperfect, but the most important thing is you start. You will find your bearings, you will find your way, and I wish you all the best in your journey. But don't forget, it's a journey, not the destination.